I was 24 when I lost my mum. That time that we had at home with her was a lot more sentimental and meaningful. And in some ways, I'd say you guys have never really left.
We certainly feel that Julie had a beautiful end thanks to the hospice at home team. You made the very simple things of being treated with dignity. It just came so naturally to all of your staff, and we are forever grateful.
That we do still feel like you're part of the family.
Julie, my only sister, lived in Stratford with her family, Darcie, Rory, Pete. And Julie was just 52 years old when we sadly lost her last year. Julie lived extremely well and independently with multiple sclerosis and had done since she was just 29 and a young mum to Darcie. And whilst for some that might mark the beginning of a completely dependent lifestyle, but she absolutely took every challenge and beat it. She did a skydive as a disabled woman. She raised money for charity, of course. And she told me after she jumped out of that plane that she felt as able as anyone else, free falling. And that to me just shows the character, her strength, her willingness to see that others are worse off than her, when at times we couldn't see that. We thought that she had been given a really difficult experience. But she worked full-time, she did Viz on Fridays, she co-owned a very successful business with her husband Peter, and I'm so proud of her as my one and only sister, because she was just a tour de force really, and it was her fun-loving, centre of attention, loudest at the party attitude that got her as far as it did in her life. But it was in April of 2023, and quite out of the blue, Julie started to feel unwell. And after a couple of weeks of struggling on, as she often did, she was taken into hospital. And very quickly after that, we realised just how poorly Julie was. Julie was unfortunately affected by a very rare and aggressive cancer. We realised that Julie would come home to sadly die.
It definitely was not a sense of relief having her home, but that time that we had at home with her was a lot more sentimental and meaningful to myself and especially my younger brother. I think you feel slightly detached when they're in hospital. Yes, you can see them, but having them at home in our safe space as a family meant a hell of a lot. It was a massive transformation, I'd say, for the family when you guys came into our life. For me, I'd probably say it was the way that you spoke to us. So I was 24 when I lost my mum, my little brother was 15. There's a lot of information for a 15-year-old to take. I think it was the way that you explained stuff in really simple terms. There was no ignoring the situation, because sadly we couldn't, but it was making sure that we both knew that there was someone to talk to. It was very early on mentioned about what support there would be after. I think me and Rory felt like we had a hand to hold on to throughout the situation. Obviously we had our family to rely on as well, but it was having that strong external factor, but we still knew we'd see them every day. That made it a lot easier. And when I say that we do still feel like we're part of the family, me and Mel and Dad and Granny and Rory and everyone, we do feel like this place is still attached to us, and it means a hell of a lot.
When she came home, although at that stage in her illness she wasn't mobile, you knew how important her positioning was, you knew what was a comfortable way for Julie to be resting in, and just the touch and the care and the compassion, the small things, the things that we take for granted. To have your hair brush, to have your choice of perfume on that day, and to be asked what you want whilst you're in your own home, whilst you're still conscious and able to make choices for yourself. You involve Julie in all of her decisions. That included how and when she should be fed, and also involve the family in supporting that. So you upskilled our family to make sure that if there was something that Julie needed when you weren't able to be there, we could meet those needs as well. The person-centeredness and the humanity in the care of your touch, your voice, everything. And it was complex. Julie's needs were different perhaps to others because of her underlying illness, her multiple sclerosis. Despite that complexity, you made the very simple things of being treated with dignity. It just came so naturally to all of your staff, and we are forever grateful. And whilst we're thankful that she didn't suffer for long, we sadly were there to support Julie as the end of her life approached. And it was really thanks to the love and support and the generosity and care of the Hospice at Home team that meant that Julie was able to come home and spend the last and most important and rewarding days with us, her family. Although the sadness goes on, we certainly feel that Julie had, if it can be said, a beautiful end thanks to the Hospice at Home team.
And in some ways I'd say you guys have never really left, which means a lot to us. Whether or not Mum really knew what was going on at the time, she still knew you guys were there, and I think she felt at peace as much as we did, especially at the, like Mel said, beautiful end, because it was really beautiful.
Please support the Shakespeare Hospice Christmas Appeal.
The Hospice at Home team will be working every day over the Christmas period, caring for patients like my mum and helping families like mine be at home together this Christmas.
Donations to the Christmas Appeal will be doubled while funds last, so please give what you can and help them be there for patients and their loved ones this Christmas.